Here's my latest prototype for adjusting the electronic e-brake. So in here, you see that white spring at the top there? When that is released, that's when the e-brake is triggered. So you want something like a spacer to keep holding on to that and pushing against it until after the mechanical rear brake engages. So what I did was I took a top of a takeout container, and I actually took 3 pieces of plastic and then duct taped them together. And then I made a little U shape here. So there's just 3 pieces of plastic in a U shape, and it flexes like a spring. You see, as I pull out, it's still pushing onto that top spring and giving resistance. It's not until this point that that top spring is actually released and the e-brake is triggered. And you see how much of a brake pull I have here. You see, that's when the e-brake is triggered. That is way after the mechanical rear brake is triggered. So I'm about at 50% of mechanical brake being triggered at this handle here. I've adjusted the rear mechanical brake, tightened the cable as much as I could so that it's the mechanical rear brake will trigger as soon as possible. So like all along here, it's still mechanical rear brake. It's only way down here, so about 50% mechanical brake effort is when the e-brake triggers. So since the rear brake is being triggered, it's already slowing you down, and then when the front e-brake finally triggers, it's a lot less abrupt. So it's not just suddenly stopping, which it usually does, because the stock form, it's e-brake in the front being triggered right away, then the mechanical rear brake gets triggered. And the good part about the spring is it's keeping all this resistance all the way up until this point, versus before I just had a little spacer here. So the spacer was just taking up space as it was closed like this, and then as I pulled it, it released pretty early. I was only getting maybe 25% mechanical brake pull, and then the e-brake would trigger, but now I'm getting 50% mechanical brake effort, and then the e-brake is triggered.